What's going on? Welcome to Third Coast Sports TV. Can't wait for this game. I see y'all already in the building, man. I see y'all. Hold on. Let's see who we got up in here. We got Sid the Man Harris. I don't think I've seen you before. Salute. Welcome to the stream. H Train, what it do? J Pack, what it good? Let's see. I'm wait for a few more of y'all to go ahead and come on up in here, man. Yeah, I see y'all flying in here now. Lucy, what's going on, man? Let me know. Let me know how the sound sounds. A price stream I had earlier was tripping. Y'all let me know how to if y'all can hear me just fine. Wise, what it do? I sent you a message on your comments on Tennis Channel. I hope it made sense and explain. I'm not the best at explaining shit. Yeah, I just saw it, getting ready to read it, but then I looked at the time, saw it was time, so I'm gonna check that out as soon as I get through with this video, and I'll respond back to it. Yeah, I mean, but I think you were going, but from what a glimpse, like when I just like alluded to the fact that like you were looking at how other people talk about their team when you, I mean, I guess about their teams, and I guess they put it in this proper perspective how this team performs or something like that. I mean, I skimmed over it. I could see some of it, but I ain't get to read the whole comment because it came through on my phone. El Guapo, what's going on? Oh, you know I am, man. Trust me, you know I am. Yeah, we're gonna get in. I got like six major talking points that I'm gonna have when it comes to this Eagles preview against this week. All the dialogue. What's going on? I see you on IG ripping that Pac, man. I remember seeing you, man. I be checking out them little videos and shit you be posting. And posting some shit that a lot of people don't be thinking about. Y'all let me know how the stream looks and how the audio is sounding. Cause I don't, Lord, I gotta restart the stream all the way over again and redo it. I'm not sold on Brian Gay either, but credit on Justin Reed, Thomas, and DeAndre Carter. Yeah, I mean, I give him a bit on that. I mean, Akins can do something. It's just that we just don't use him. I like Kiki, but he just hasn't been available. I appreciate him on Jimmy favorite channel regarding Texas news, man. I appreciate it, man. I saw you say that in the previous stream. What I'm saying, something like that. And hey, trust me, I appreciate it. I don't really care about all the credit. I'm just glad that I can provide content and y'all fuck with your boy. Yeah, I wasn't sold on Brian Gain either at first. I mean, but I mean he's done as much as a GM could do in his position coming back. Doing shit for this football team. In fact, if we win four, man, I mean that speaks volumes. I mean, but like I said in the last video, a key reason to that is because they decided not to play Kevin Johnson anymore, and Martinez ranking. You do that, and the team immediately found it. So that just goes to show you that and coaching needs to the coaching increase the moment that they got out of the fucking game plan. So anybody who doesn't think and that coaching doesn't win you games, trust me, it does. I mean, people say that people on the field matter more than the actual coaching. I beg to differ because we done seen teams that shouldn't be teams, and you know how they beat them. They beat them the way they were coached, and they have an identity that they put in process. Something that we don't have as an organization. We used to have an identity. We don't really have an identity. The only identity we could say that we have is defense. And we do a plethora of things right on defense. But this season, I can't tell exactly what the hell it is that we're extremely good at because it damn sure ain't zone. We all know Kevin Johnson was starting because they wanted to see if you live up to the first round pick status. Well, you don't worry about that because last time I checked, that was a Rick Smith pick, and Rick Smith ain't here no more. So I see no reason why, because you do realize that this staff right here is the one who extended him to play, and they trotted his bitch ass out there to make it look like he top corner, and we see immediately that he does not fit the bill. At the moment that they can cut him, go ahead and do so. And y'all make sure y'all hit them like buttons. I see especially here with on the 7 likes. Y'all get them likes up. Hope they activate Webster. I'm not sold on Webster. I'm not. I would never wanted him here, and I know Sharice Wright gave up 2 touchdowns in the red zone the last 2 weeks. All the dialogue. I get your point, but he been there for a lot of big plays that have saved the games too. So it's a yin and a yang with this man. You got to take the good with the bad when it comes to Sharice Wright. Because do you really want to take somebody who only provided a series, who was coming off on Kendrick for like another 5 6 weeks, and now they're gonna get ready to activate him to bring him back, and you expect him to play football? Yeah, good luck with that shit. Yeah, but that's the reality of Avon Webster. I was never sold on him. He doesn't have the talent that I like, and what does he really do well? You know, most people were talking about Kayvon Webster. I never heard of not one thing that he does well, other than the fact that he has some speed, and speed does not win you football games. Being a corner, I mean, that's just the reality of it. It takes skill to play corner, not speed. Does anyone want me to get a shot this week? I haven't heard anything, but I'm gonna go ahead and you feel more safe with Reach right on a post like that. Joseph Coven, give Coven a chance. Yeah, I'd rather put Coven in that situation than to reach right, and that's the situation he should have been in from the get go, because I mean he is making eight, as a slot corner. So I don't see why you would be trying to reach right out there when in like 3 weeks that he's not getting the appropriate reps, and you paying him all this fucking money. I don't see any reason why you should do that. But that's exactly why I'm not a coach and they are, because I would do what was needed, not doing what is needed. You know what I'm saying, to win these football games. I mean, they win. Or can we truly say that the Houston Texans are doing their very best with this football team? I believe that. But let's go ahead and get into these 6 points that when it comes to the Eagles versus Texans. We traveling up Philly, man. Just had a rough game with the New York Jets. And if you checked out my last stream, I went over a few points to saying this team, vulnerable. How vulnerable is this team, and is it vulnerable because of players, or is it vulnerable because of the coaching staff on defense? The defense let up a lot of shit that should not have happened. A lot of guys were going off. And it speaks to Titty's point before the game even started when we were in the pregame. And guys like Robbie Anderson, who are dangerous and can go down the field and make plays. And you see a guy like this, get a lot of tape. Even though he was hit 100 yards, the fact the man was he was an impact player in the game. And I believe that too. Squirt. Naveed, what's going on? Naveed Muhammad, what's going on? What was stream? Yeah, one of the first points that I wanted to bring up when it came to this Eagles game is, how will the defense fare against Foles? Now, let's talk about the front end. We're gonna go from the front to the back, because that's how you supposed to build a football team when you start on your defense. You work your way up, and you go from the front to the back. So, in terms of the front end, I think they should be able to match up well against the line. I mean, I know they do got Lane Johnson. I'm not sure if Lane Johnson is out right now. I haven't checked. Man, I appreciate that, man. And I'm nervous about the game too, because Nick Foles is a major problem. I'm just starting all my points for this game, and I'm trying to see how defense is gonna fare against this team first, because the man got a big arm, man. And the man got a pocket. He has good footwork. He's a pretty solid decision maker. Cross, he can cause big plays. He can run the ball his damn self. You know what I'm saying? He's built tough. And the fact that he's a Super Bowl MVP, you have to take this man serious. And everybody in the stream is gonna give Nick Foles his respect, because the man went out, beat a Rams team that a lot of fans counted the Eagles out, but I knew the Eagles would win this game. I knew the Rams were not going to win this game because of how they play on defense. The Rams don't play defense to the level of the defense. True enough, I know the Eagles back end has given up a lot of big plays. And their corners aren't as good as they should be, and sometimes their front seven can they can be had in the run and the pass game, but Nick Foles is going to be able to show that that offense is pumping, and that the fucking defense is going to be able to give him extra chances to make and pump the ball down the field, gash us up in those little creases that we see playing in zone. I think the major reason why we're not playing as well as we should zones because not only are guys not getting set and not properly communicating, but when you pass guys off, dudes lose their containment and they think that they picking up on somebody else's responsibility. And to be honest, I don't think the corners trust the linebackers and vice versa. I think that's the reason, and that's why you're seeing the safety play playing up to such a high level because it's having to take up all the slack from the fucking is the safeties are slack from the linebackers who fail in coverage and the corners who fall in coverage. You know, it's not what Honcho. What's the motherfucking deal, bro? ADI Music. What's going on with it, man? Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Rigo, what's going on with it? Dre D, what's good? Yeah, when this team when they passing off their zones, as I was saying, I think the lack of trust, from certain guys is really showing because it's always the same people who end up getting exposed. You come from the corners and the fucking the linebackers on the football team, and I think because the right play calls aren't happening and you're not a lot of single high, safety. I think that's a detriment to this football team when you have whose only real vulnerability in pass coverage is in pass coverage is the double move. That's the only way, honestly, you really beat Jonathan Joseph. If you're not beating him, eventually, depending on the route, once he didn't seen it enough, he'll jump them out routes. He can jump them back shoulder fades. He's done this. He's done this his entire as a Houston Texans cornerback, and because of his knowledge and the fact that he's a little older, prevails in a lot of games, and this is why he gets so many pass breakups. He makes phenomenal tackles, and a guy like T.Y. Hilton, or a guy like Adam Thielen, somebody that you're not really beating Jonathan Joseph, especially as a big, and he's going to have to come up big playing against Jeffrey in this game. There's nobody that I want in this game guarding Alshon Jeffrey more than I want Jonathan Joseph protecting him at all times. If he's traveling, I need Jonathan Joseph to travel with him because I think a guy like Sharice Wright, if he has to go out him, bro, he's a dead man. And Alshon Jeffrey's not even all that fast, and neither is Zach Ertz. We're gonna get to him in just a second because they doing some patchwork, things with their running backs. You know what I'm saying? They had small problems. Small wood can be a problem, but I'm not worried about the run game for the simple fact we shut down the best running backs that we could possibly see, from the last couple of years, and they've done nothing to the. You remember? I forgot what the stat was. They said they haven't. It hasn't been 100 against the Houston Texans since like early last year. You know what I'm saying? Like then in 2 years or some shit like that. It's been a long time since a 100-yard rusher has won against the Texans and been successful. So we got entirely too many guys up front who can handle the business. But I think a major reason why we can end up being taken advantage of and finding success against us is if Romeo Cornell is doing stupid shit, Angelo Blackson, DJ Reader, and if you're doing 3-man rushes and you're not bringing 4 and 5, 6-man pressures. I feel if you're going to have that type of game against Nick Foles, he's going to need all the pressure he can in his face. And see if you can get home, get your hands up because you're going to have to bat down balls and make sure that you have a lot of because the guys are going to need to come up and make plays and cause interceptions or at least try to get there to cause fumbles or at least always have these guys in a situation where they don't learn downs. Third down is going to be very critical in this game because if you get these guys in the screen game and if the Foles, whoever his offensive coordinator is on that game I saw the other night, man, this guy knows how to scheme and he knows how to get his wide receivers and tight ends. So it would be in Romeo Cornell's best interest to play tighter coverage. I think if you play tighter coverage, you can have a lot more success, and you can positive throws that Nick Foles can end up making in this football game. And I think that will end up making sure that the pass rush gets home more often than not. Let me read some of y'all comments because I see comments and shit like that flying in. We're dropping. Yeah. I don't like them in coverage, but at the end of the day, they're not giving up no big plays in coverage. As odd as it may sound, and as much as we don't like seeing it, they're not really giving up no big plays. You think to do with it, having to shuffle ring back and forth? No, I mean it. That's a question, ADI music. That's a good question. I mean, Kareem is probably the most versatile player. Him, and the Honey Badger are probably the most versatile players because he can play and he can play. He can play the slot corner. So I can kind of read into it, but I think a lot of time they don't really hear the chicks, and I think they don't make the adjustments, and they don't properly tell who's. Because when you notice when they are telling somebody, "Hey, pick this man up," the other person isn't even looking at them or isn't even seeing it, or they're looking at the person play snap out of position and they don't know what the hell to do when they're on plays. I watch that and I see that a whole lot of football team. And under Romeo Cornell this year, they've been somewhat lackadaisical because Mike Vrabel was not coaching up the linebackers. I mean, I do understand Coach Pagano's brother is helping out the linebackers, and he did great things for the Chargers before he came here. But I don't like that the linebacker play is this season versus the last 2 to 3 seasons when Mike Vrabel was here. It seems that their intensity is not what it once was. They're not playing, but they're doing a lot of things that Mike didn't necessarily do when they were here. These guys would be blitzing. These guys would be doing delayed blitzes. These guys would be stunting. Would be doing all kinds of things. You know what I'm saying? And they were much more creative in terms of the play when he was the linebackers coach. So one major key, one thing to notice, and it's been a detriment to this football team. I expect Zach Cunningham, to do well in coverage. Make sure that he takes Small Wood out, in the flat combinations, one up screens. I'm expecting, these little 5 and 6 inches and things that can turn to big plays for the Eagles. I'm expecting them to close in on that and make sure that they're being very efficient in the tackle game. They've picked that up over the last few games, and they honestly haven't really given up missed tackles over the last couple of games because it seemed like 2, 3 games ago they were like missing a lot. Romeo Cornell has fixed that part of their game, but he hasn't fixed the cover in the way that they scheme the coverages, especially when they have to, when they got two safety high. You know what I'm saying? I just don't like the middle of the field being left open with this football standpoint. I feel in order for this football team to really thrive against them, I think they're gonna have to play a lot of press man coverage, which I know they will not do, but I say it anyway. I think they need to they need to press these guys at the line. I don't think you need to give any guys who have speed, and I believe you need to double team the hell out of Zach Ertz to make sure he is not killing us on third down. You do that, and I honestly believe this team can damage, and they may end up surprising even themselves of how they end up playing defense going forward and carrying that momentum into the last game against the Jags so that they can continue being the 2 seed. They can remain the 2 seed or higher when it comes playoff time. Uh, I want to say one of my next points I want to say is that can the running game to get back to its point that it was like a couple of weeks ago. I know, Lamar Miller pretty much got hurt, and I think that's a major. Watson was throwing the ball a lot, and he was very successful at it. But the only problem I had with Sean Watson throwing the ball so much is that the fact that Bill O'Brien didn't really adjust to the way that the Jets were blitzing him, and it also on the offensive line, and it made them look far worse than they actually are. The guy coming in, or he couldn't pick up the extra blitzer. I think once he was able to properly identify who the hell was coming in, you saw the guy moving the ball like no problem, and then he ends up throwing a late touchdown. He ends up throwing a late touchdown to fucking DeAndre Hopkins, who's the best receiver in the league. If you got a problem with it, say do about it because you ain't gonna change nobody's mind in this chat. But let me get to a couple of y'all comments. Let me see what I'm saying. Wink, am I crazy or did you see Kevin saying, yeah, I saw it. Bro, I saw it. I remember him sitting back in coverage one time on the third down. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? But that's something that Romeo Cornell has to clean up, man. We discussed that on the sauce the other in the video that I just did a couple of hours ago when I was doing the video earlier, and it made absolutely no sense that this man was dropping defensive. They was gonna be able to guard any fucking body. What is your expectation for the time in the next couple of weeks? Shit, I don't see no reason why Jordan Thomas won't be continuously in the game, but I understand they're gonna end up using the tight ends a little bit more, and probably you'll probably end up seeing a lot of bunch game with extra tight ends because they want to negate the hell they have. I mean, we going against a legitimate pass rush. They probably aren't as good as they should. They're still respectable enough to where they can get home and affect any legitimate. We just saw what they did the Rams. We just saw how uncomfortable they made Jared Goff feel. So I said to a Texans team, with how this team has been. I feel like if the offensive play calling was a little bit better, not that it's abysmal, but it could be far better than what it is. And I honestly feel the reason why we don't do a lot of the things is because O'Brien has entirely too many weapons that he does not know how to properly get each person involved in the game plan. It's no reason when Deshaun Watson is out here throwing the ball that he should not be having like 8 guys to touch the ball in every single game. There's no reason that Lamar Miller's catching pass catching numbers are down versus when he was in Miami and other teams. They don't really scheme this man. You never really see any halfback screens. You never see any elaborate screens with him. You never see any tight end screens. Tight end screens are probably more effective than any other screen because it gets you completely off of your right. And they don't even really check and release a lot. They check and release, they'll check a receiver, but when they release out, and when a guy, or if he whatever route that he runs, once he's then already with the cutoff field, you don't really see those type of plays. You don't see a lot of misdirection. You don't see a lot of, the ball. You don't see a lot of sweeps. You don't see a lot of pulling guards or pulling tackles. You don't see a lot of that. But when we do it, we're successful. And there was some things that I was seeing in the Pittsburgh game last night in terms of the way that they were running the halfback counter and how they were bringing guards to seal off the edge. They were bringing and how they were sealing off the edges against the Patriots, and their run game was so effective, and they were able to get a lot of big chunk plays. And that's something that I would love and envision this football team doing. Head football coach is, and because I know his mind has pretty much went away from everything that worked in the year that Watson got hurt that he's not doing this year. Why am I to believe that somehow he's going to open up the playbook when he gets to the end of the season and or get in the playoffs against some of the better teams in the league his defense, quite frankly, hasn't had to face? But I digress on that point. Another point that I have is, does this coaching staff adjust throughout this game? And I mean, okay, if you're seeing these guys in like 3, 4 man blitzes, 5 man blitzes, and they start getting hungry, are you gonna adjust and as soon as this starts happening, or are you gonna wait till the fourth quarter of Philadelphia subtraction to win this football game and knock us out of our seed right to the 3rd seed? Because I honestly believe New England is probably gonna end up beating the hell out of whoever the hell they because of how they just lost. You got a lot of people out here saying Tom Brady old doing this. I'm one of them, but I think he's gonna probably end up taking all of that shit into consideration and show that he can still go out there and win games and be effective in the playoffs. Um, I want Bill O'Brien to make sure that he always has Deshaun Watson in the right situation. And if you have Watson take the reins for a little bit, then do that. I think as long as it's positive for this football team and they can win convincingly, which is all everybody wants. We just win convincingly. We don't have winning convincingly does not mean we got to blow a team out by 13, 14. I mean, it's lovely to see that. Those games are always exciting for Texas fans because we've endured our amount of blowouts in the past, but it's no reason why we always need to be the good guys, the good Samaritans, taking their foot off of the opponent's neck when they're going to do everything they can to come back to win the game. This football team gets, and sometimes the fans aid that process because it's not something that really really bothers the fan as long as they're getting the win. How you win is just as important as the win itself. And if you don't believe that, then I don't know what else to tell you because more often than not, you can't be convinced otherwise anyway because you'll be more than likely you'll just accept anything just as long as the W is in the column. You can't give Watson props for only blame Bob when he makes the reads. Both blame equally. Oh, I agree. I agree. And one of the major factions of what Deshaun Watson is definitely going to end up having to make sure. And I said this in my last video. If you didn't get to watch it all, Honcho, is that the sacks that we've accumulated, at least 20 of them have been on Deshaun Watson. He's contributed at least to 20 of his own sacks. And because we have been seeing him throw the ball away a lot more, I think that's going to really be something that as the season gets into the playoffs, and if he finds that he's putting his team in a position by holding the ball too long, it's going to he fixes. But I think it won't be entirely fixed until the season prior. I think we'll end up seeing a different Deshaun Watson, but I think by then we'll have mine as well. And barring any injuries, to anybody that could be, help him out in the process, Watson definitely is. He needs to throw the ball away a little bit more. I think if he throws the ball away a little bit more, you don't really run the risk of having any negative plays. And without any negative plays, you can always, get your play here, get your play there. Just take what the defense gives you, move forward. If you get it down, know what go to Sean Ryan or Bill O'Brien, talk about what can be done, what you are, improve upon it, and make sure that hey, on the next drive we're gonna go out here and we're gonna score. I give you a mentality. This team can do what they want to do against any other team offensively. There's nobody will really be able to stop them once they get that type of cohesion. If this man ever gets an O line, and just look at how without an O line, the fact that he's what like 26 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, that's a phenomenal man. Like sports fan entertainment said that this dude was gonna end up being more like in 13 type ratio. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these guys when they sit here and they talk, look at the whole picture. Does he have his faults? Absolutely. It's every other quarterback. But I think what people don't give him props for is the fact that how he can escape, how durable he truly is. I mean, it's not like when he got hurt last year, he got hurt in the game. He got hurt in practice, shit up, and yet and still his knee hasn't been a problem the whole season. No, you never seen him grabbing for his knee. You never seen him getting pinched. His knee was from the get go. He went through the chest injury. He showed how much heart he had, and from that shit, then he didn't put up a couple of blowouts, then had some convincing wins at that. And at the end of the day, he's protecting the ball more. He's not fumbling. He's not throwing any interceptions. Be proud of. And I think when you have that Deshaun Watson at your disposal, you can't do anything. I mean, you can't do anything against this man. Move your phone. Oh. The Amigos D line kill us if we don't make proper adjustments in the game. Bob needs yeah, he does. That's why I'm saying it's gonna always be beneficial for Bill O'Brien to make sure that the game plan somewhat has to be built around the passing game when it comes to the running backs, tight ends. I think the tight ends have shown you they can go up and go make big plays. Hell, even Ryan Griffin had damn near a 50-yard catch. I mean, he caught it for like 20, 18, 20 yards to about like 48 yards, 50 yards. It's not that you don't have the talent to do this. It's just totally dependent on how you use it and how you execute it on the field. I think when both parties can come together, like Honcho said, I think this team will be so dynamic that nobody will be able to properly offensive. You can't really truly game plan for Deshaun Watson because just when you think you got him, the man slips out, the man does, some great shit, and you be like, bro, how in the hell is he getting a lot of these damn sacks? Like he doesn't go down easy. It generally takes like two, three people to get him down, and he still be fighting through that shit. And I love seeing that because at the end of the day, we know you're the quarterback that we had prior to Deshaun Watson. It just didn't exist. But one of the things, what's going on, Jose? Shout outs. What's going on, Broderick? Demarcus Webb, Home. What's going on? Let me see. Tyran Matthew, free Honcho, free Tyran. Shit, you already here in the stream. What else we got here? See anything I missed? So I ain't really missed much. I ain't really missed much at all. Kelvin, Cliff Kingsbury. I don't know who that is. I've been hearing his name a couple of times for an OC job, but I'm going to give Sean Ryan the chance before anybody. And the reason why is because I see how Deshaun Watson responds to him. I feel that's a guy that he can easily go up to. I enjoy your H-Town showstoppers. I appreciate that a whole lot, man. Um, the fact that, Sean Ryan is so involved with Deshaun Watson, teaching him a lot of football that he didn't know prior. I think that'll end up him down the road, and I think him and them both together will be able to feed off each other schematically. They both know how they really want to run the offense, and with them both together here, since Deshaun's been here, I see no reason why he shouldn't get every chance in the world. No, go back down the hall. And that's just how I feel about it. Yeah, and he turned Browns and he turned down Mike Vrabel because he knew he wanted to be. He knew those quarterbacks not what he wanted. It's probably he didn't like their attitudes and the fact that he had saw Deshaun Watson do so much so little time that propelled him to stay here. And we see the root of that. And this is why they're 10-4 as we speak right now. When nobody ever could have predicted the way they got to this 10 win. Would have got it like this, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But do you think at least for an OC job, if he gets an offer, what he's been able to do with D4? No. I don't. I think he's. I honestly believe, Honcho, that he is extremely invested in Deshaun Watson. I think he wants to see him all the way through and see what he can truly do because we honestly still don't even know what Deshaun Watson get done. I mean, we haven't. He hasn't went to the heights yet. So Kiki should not play this week. He should go ahead, rest up, get to the playoffs, and if we can second round by, then he should play. Make sure that his legs are in because anything before that, and he ends up if he ends up getting hurt again before it's gonna be another situation. But I don't mind relying on DeAndre Carter. Could you imagine him and DeAndre Carter out there at the same time in a four wide set? I could. And seeing the explosiveness that DeAndre Carter has, and he has way more speed and he's far more shiftier than Kiki is, man, you working beneath that helps you out a whole lot. Steve J, what's going on? TJ Rome is a douchebag. Oh no, I ain't. Will Ryan be a better play caller because you can't tell me he has no impudent offensive play caller? No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. Who do you see? Who do you see holding the script? Bill O'Brien. He calls no plays. Do you see where Deshaun? Do you see what Sean Ryan is when he comes off of the field? He's on the bench talking to Deshaun Watson because he's the quarterback coach. He is. Not, he has no input. I mean, yeah, he may try to get in there. Yeah, and when you got guys like Will Fuller, I miss Will Fuller too. I think with the way that this team assembled, I think you should definitely bring DeAndre. You might as well cut Coates because you're not using him unless you want to keep him on special teams, and just a reserve play in case somebody gets hurt. I see no real reason to be paying Sammy any money and keeping him as a body on this football team when he doesn't even get properly utilized himself. You can use him in the red zone, with guys like it's so many things you could do with this football team. Go away from they choose to use this team the way that they want to use the team, and there's nothing we as fans can really do about it. And that's the frustrating part when it comes to watching this football team. I'm saying perpetration of the game plan. Nah, the preparation of the game plan, I don't see it. I don't see it. I see Bill O'Brien having the script. I see him making the adjustments as he sees, him taking over this entire operation. I do not see him giving any real leeway, and he may take some shit in consideration, but at the end of the day, what?
He's gonna bite me.
Damn, chill out. Yeah, I don't really see what's going on. Sorry about that. I had to deal with these kids real quick for a second. Yeah, but that would be dumb if he didn't. Hey, we can clearly see that Demarcus on the field. When is it real innovative on the field? What game outside of the what game outside of the Dolphins game? Oh yeah, yeah, y'all already know. 5, 4, and 2. 5, 4, and 2. They all close in age. Yeah, man. It's I don't see him really taking any of that because the way that you utilize shit in from his run scheme to everything, the Titans game, the Titans game, the Dolphins games, hand down the best offensive game. Honestly, the first Colts game was a great offensive game until it got to the second half and he went away from doing shit that was working. And see, this is what I'm talking about when it comes to this football team and Bill O'Brien. He constantly gets in the way, and for anybody to say that he doesn't, and not that. D- d- and the team don't execute on the field and that the offensive line doesn't cause penalties at the wrong time. I'm not saying that either. But schematically, a lot of those things can be coached up and you don't the parts around the way you can exploit the matchups that you really want to have with the weapons that you have at your disposal. That's why it gets so frustrating. We know guys should be motioning out. We know guys should be doing that, but it just doesn't happen. And it does kind of give me the point to where is he really creative without Will Fuller? Because he hasn't really been creative since. I mean, you could probably say they was somewhat creative, but let's be real, we got down to the red zone many times. I think we had the same amount of field goals that we hit in this past game, and we ended up winning the same score was 29 to whatever the hell they had. So I don't know, man. But let me get into one of these the last points that I wanted to take because I want to talk about can Watson seal the deal. But before I do that, I want to talk about what can the Eagles take advantage of to win this game on their end. And honestly, if the biggest vulnerability I see, they can take advantage of this offensive line, which a lot of teams have. I think if you keep bringing in 5, 6 man pressures and the lack of adjustments and the lack of approach could definitely hurt this team. And I think not running a lot of play action because I noticed something in that Rams and Eagles game. Play action, play calling, and quick passes and a quick info game hurts the Eagles. If we run a lot, and if you increase the game speed, I think the Eagles will have no problems. But if we stay stagnant, we will have the Eagles. I guarantee you, the Eagles will be in this game from start to finish. A couple of drives where it's looking like, man, we're doing a lot of good things. We're moving the ball. We're doing this. We're doing that. But they're slowing up. You know, they gonna end up getting the ball, and defensively, will more than likely end up staying stagnant the way that he is running this cover two, this cover four, cover six. All of this. Cover nine. He's trying to do. You know, to team that he doesn't have the proper coverage that he wants to play. So if you don't have the coverage that you want, why would you not use the pass rush situation at your disposal? You got 3 legitimate pass rushers. You still have Duke waiting in the wings. You got Reader and you got Blackson who can all come in. And we can't even forget about Bernard do on delayed blitzes. You do these things, you can win the game and you can win it easy, but it'll definitely be known that the Eagles had no shot at winning this game if what we're suggesting. But if you're gonna play cover two all game, if you're not gonna be physical Alshon Jeffrey, if you're not gonna double and if you're not gonna double Ertz and take him completely off of the third down situations, then this team is gonna end up losing a critical game and gonna need a win. And the fact that we've never beat Philadelphia in our entire history is gonna speak volumes. Because once and y'all not gonna y'all wouldn't even have known that rule truly until you show the all-time record and they say, yeah, the Texans have never beat it. Then y'all gonna be like, y'all gonna put everything into its proper perspective. And as the game wanes on, if you see Romeo Cornell giving up entirely too many third downs and the defense becomes gas, man, Nick Foles is gonna end up having a field day. And it may end up being a team where a guy like Smallwood could end up having a big game rushing against the Houston Texans. Yeah, I'm saying it. I'm saying if we give up entirely Towns and Romeo Cornell can't find a way, yeah. No, my bad. Smallwood, I'm back. I had to switch my connections real quick. Sorry about that. Yeah, but a guy like and he's handing that ball up and he's making all these quick adjustments. And if he sees that the defense is getting gas, they can run the ball right towards you, and they'll end up having some success. Now, I don't think the linebackers will be able to make some plays, but at any given time, this team can give us when you least expect it against a team that you don't think should be giving up as many as they could. So I need the Texans to take this game extremely, especially after the team they just beat, who people are pegging the Super Bowl champs, who I was never sold on them or the fucking Chiefs. I was never sold on the Rams or the Chiefs because I came down to it. You see both of those teams as it's getting down to the stretch, they're starting to lose a lot of games, and their defense is really on playing well. So the fact that they lack a balance is a major reason that people are going to see, and this is why I can't praise offensive juggernauts with no real defense, legitimate. You don't have to be like top, you don't have to be top right outside of the top 10. You can be like 11, 12, at least up to 15, but your presence you at least have to be really good on third down. You have to be really good, in terms of ratio, and you have to eliminate points. And this is something that the Chiefs do not do. Yeah, they sacks. They can put pressure on you, but what good is sacks if you're giving up third downs and you're giving up big plays down the middle? At some point in time, you can always wear out a fucking pass rush. Any can be worn out. So that stays true. The defense wins championships, and we've seen it in the last few championships that we've been watching. I mean, defense always comes up big when you need it, and the fact that they don't have a solid running game hurts tremendously. Yeah, you can do some patchwork here and there, but look at the teams you were able to rush against when in the games that you just had. Like you played the Ravens, you weren't able to run on them. That because I watched that entire game as I was watching the Colts game, and I forgot this play who they couldn't run against the Chargers. You got a couple of plays here and there, but they didn't want no Chargers because the Chargers is the real team in the AFC West, and I call them to win the division or anybody. So it's gonna be a lot of things to see. But my last point I want to get to before I end the video: can Watson seal the deal? I think as long as the defense is allotting him the, if, as long as allotting him chances, I think if they really getting him the ball back, and I think they don't really have to get turnovers, but as long as they're getting good defensive stops in critical parts of the game, it's demoralized the hell out of their offense and it's going to demoralize the hell out of their defense because they have to see this man, Deshaun Watson. And Michael Bennett know firsthand, he already know what it's like to play Deshaun Watson from last year. He already knows this man is trill and he already knows what it takes to stop him. So I'm pretty sure he's going to be able to get some intel. But the thing is, from this team, him being on the Eagles to the Legion of Boom, they were way more prepared because they had the secondary to back the shit up. Hey, DeAndre, as long as his ankle and everything is doing fine, I see this man having another killer ass game. I see them playing a lot of man coverage the same way because they were playing a lot of man last night. They played a lot of man covers last night, and I mean, and rightfully so because I mean, you saw what the front seven was able to do to golf last night, and when your defense is playing that well up front, why aren't you playing man? And that's one of the reasons why I asked, can the defense capitalize against foes? Because if you're doing what you need to do, this team can a lot of great things and win convincingly. I'm gonna keep that point, and I'm gonna always drive that point at home. Let me see what you guys want to say. I mean, we were fourth in rushing average. Yeah, I seen. Let's not forget the Chiefs having a choking coach. Yeah, yeah, bro. We already know that. I already know. Andy Reid, bro, winning the playoffs. At least not with the Chiefs. He don't. He got one game against us. He blew us out 30-0 when Brian Hoyer was the fucking quarterback, and we didn't have no run game to speak of. And that was when Arian Foster went down and Alfred Blue was averaging like less than 4 yards a carry. He was like 3.8, and he only had like 500-600 yards on the season. So I wouldn't really take that game to the bank. And this ain't the same Texas team from then to now. So they're gonna be a dog fight. We played them last year, so we already know how their defense is. That hasn't changed much. The only change is Patrick Mahomes being the quarterback, which it ain't gonna be easy to defend him. How we played him even in the preseason, we know what his vulnerability is because we didn't play him up close already. And I know it's a preseason game, but we know what affects him and why, what causes him to play well. And we were the first team to expose that before anybody. But how do y'all feel about Watson having any chances in this game? If it's a similar game to Jets, do you really feel that Deshaun Watson will be able to pull it off yet again? Or do you see a situation where offense is going to be able to stall out and, he get the ball back and they keep the ball out of Deshaun Watson's hands and don't allow him to have the ball in the last 2 minutes, 30 seconds to a minute left on the clock? Because I think they're going to run a whole lot this football game to make sure that Deshaun Watson is not on the field. And that's going to be bad for them because if they won't think they're going to want to run against us the whole game, then they're going to be sadly mistaken because they're not going to be able to really run. The only way I think they're going to be successful running in this game is because the defense gets completely worn down. You see them sucking wind. They can't get set right, have no lack of urgency, and then they just start making mental errors and they start blaming each other for blind. I think that's the only way you can even remotely run against this Houston Texans front. If you can't do that, you can't do anything. So the fact that they're going to be pretty much one dimensional the whole game, Nick Foles is pretty going to be resting on his shoulders. And we don't know what Nick Foles is going to end up showing up. But I can tell you in the first drives, if we see Nick Foles pushing and moving that ball down the field, it's going to be a long ass game. And we might as well be scared to be mad and talk a lot of shit, but still celebrate the win for what it is and the fact that we get to go 11-4 versus being 10-5. But read some of y'all comments and stuff before I get ready to close this video out because I'm getting ready to bring it to an end. I'm not excited about Seattle beating Kansas City when San Francisco just beat them. Hey, that's an outlier game. Games like that happen, and regardless of who the fuck you are in the division, you can lose any game divisional opponent. A divisional game. If you would have said that would have been would have said that would have been the Raiders and they would have beat them. Well, the Raiders did beat them. Well, no, they shot the Raiders. But I'm saying like, okay, if that would have been like the Jaguars, if they would have been somebody like that, totally different story. A bottom feeder ass team, I could understand what you just said, but the fact that these are two divisional opponents and San Fran and Seattle always battle it out, regardless of what the situation is for both sides. They always duke it out. So it's just like the Colts and the Texans. We always duke it out regardless. Hell, when they had Jacoby Brissett, they were still against the Texans. So I mean, I don't want to hear that. Divisional games are always the hardest for any team to play. On a year in year out basis, you don't know what team is going to show up, and who's going to have the better game plan and execution. But let me go back to read some comments before I go ahead and close this video out. I think we could have beaten the Colts if we got the ball. Yeah, I do too. I think it's a major reason why we lost. Chiefs going to take that L, and I agree. I think they are, especially if they traveling to Seattle. I see them getting a loss. I see that crowd being entirely too much, and I don't see them having any answers for Wilson at all. If he gets out of the pocket, you think we're gonna run more zone against the East? Just what are you talking about? Like zone coverage, or are you talking about like a scheme? I need you to clarify exactly which one you're talking about. Because if you're talking about zone coverage, yeah, I do. Because I see the team. I mean, he's not gonna get away from it. He hasn't gotten away from it all season, and I'm by him back. So I see him calling zone. I see him doing some of the same shit, and he probably won't end up adjusting until on the line, and he feels he finally wants to play defense. That's just what I see. I see it right. There's no point in me even talking about what he should and he shouldn't do, even though I already laid all the things I feel that he would do to bring this team to success against Nick Foles and the Philadelphia Eagles. But let's just be frank. Until we see it, why should we believe it? And on that note, man, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna end this video, man. I appreciate everybody. I ain't get to read all y'all comments, because I pretty much wanted to fly through the video with a lot of information that's valuable. If you did get to see the video from the beginning, make sure that y'all go check it out. Leave a comment. Y'all know I'm gonna hit y'all. I'm gonna hit y'all with a like, and we definitely can engage more of the conversation. So any question that you have for me and you didn't get your quick answer, just go ahead and put it in the chat as soon as this video posts. And I'll be right back at you, man. But then, welcome to Third Coast Sports TV. I'm your host, Wink. I appreciate y'all coming through. Sauce Nation, y'all up.